You beg to be heard, but he turns his back, pretends you don't exist, and his silence screams louder than any word. He humiliates you, makes you feel small, as if love meant begging for crumbs, and still, you can't walk away. You swear it's the last time. Delete the number, promise never to return, but one message, and the ground disappears. The cycle begins again, and you fall once more. He says he's changed. You want to believe it, but the same words return in new tones, and deep down you know, nothing changed, only the disguise. God sees you broken, trying to understand why. Why do you love those who destroy you? Why return to those who step on you? And in the middle of your tears, the question burns. Why does God still keep you there? If you feel trapped in the same cycle, the same promises, the same wounds, the same faces, this channel is the mirror God sends you. Here, every story reveals what your pain is trying to teach. It's not just about relationships, it's about awakening, about understanding why you attract what breaks you, and how to turn that into living faith. God doesn't want you to run from pain. He wants you to understand its purpose, and that's what every video unveils. Psychology to bring clarity, and faith to bring healing. So, click the button and subscribe now, because maybe what you call the end is only the beginning of your awakening, and God brought you here for a reason. You think you're in love, but what holds you is the wound, the same one that once made you believe that love means proving your worth, enduring, waiting, tolerating until you're seen. That's why you keep coming back, not for love, for need. That has a name, and every pattern is born in the unconscious. Carl Jung said, "What you do not make conscious repeats as fate." You don't choose these people, they choose you. They carry the same scent as your old pain, and you mistake memory for love. It's as if the past calls you by name, and every humiliation reignites the original scene. The child begging to be noticed, the teenager accepting crumbs just to not be forgotten, the adult still trying to prove they're worthy to stay. Everything repeats, only the face changes. You're not trapped to the person. You're trapped to the unfulfilled promise of the past. That feeling of, one day, they'll choose me. But no one can choose you while you abandon yourself. You seek in others the love you never learned to give yourself. And you call destiny what is merely lack of healing. So, when he steps on you, you blame yourself. When he ignores you, you try harder. Because deep down, you still believe that if you change, he'll love you. But that hope is the trap. It's the wounded mind's trick to avoid facing the void, because emptiness hurts more than rejection. You think it's weakness, but it's addiction. The body got used to the cycle of pain and relief. Absence became familiar, and true love feels foreign. That's why chaos attracts you. It's what you recognize. The wounded mind repeats to repair. It wants to rewrite the ending it never had, but you can't heal the past with the same hands that hurt it. Each return is an unconscious attempt to save what was lost, but you can't save what never existed, and that's why it hurts so much. You think he needs to change, but it's the mirror that must shift. The way you see yourself when he destroys you. You are not the mistake they made you believe. You are the lesson you haven't learned yet. And that's why God still keeps you there, not to punish you, but to reveal you, so that when you look at him, you finally see yourself, and understand that love without respect is prison, and that healing is saying enough. Even when your heart still begs to stay, you called it love, but it was never love. It was fear, fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear of not being chosen again. You believed in crumbs. You called the little care. You called silence peace. You called control protection. But none of that was love. It was possession, and possession always wears the scent of affection. He told you, "You're everything to me." But what he wanted was power. He wanted to see you weak so he could feel strong, to break you, then offer himself as the cure, to wound you and make you believe you deserved it. That's not love. That's manipulation wearing perfume. And you accepted it because you thought love meant sacrifice, that loving was swallowing pride and smiling while bleeding. But that's not devotion. It's emotional slavery. You confused loyalty with submission and called your own abandonment faithfulness. Love doesn't make you walk on eggshells. It doesn't keep you awake, wondering what you did wrong. It doesn't make you beg to be seen. That's trauma disguised as romance. It's emotional addiction with a soundtrack of hope. And you call destiny what is dependency. He said no one would love you like he does. And he was right, because no one who truly loves you would humiliate you like that. True love doesn't shrink you to exist, doesn't hurt you to prove itself, doesn't cage you to feel safe. You thought love was about saving someone, but God never called you to be a rescuer. He called you to awareness, to see what love was hiding, because what you felt wasn't passion, it was a mirror of what you believed you deserved. And when the mirror breaks, the illusion falls with it. You see that you didn't love him. You loved the hope, the idea of being loved someday, the fantasy that if you endured enough, he'd change, but he never would. The one who needed to change was you. True love begins when false love ends. But for that, you need courage. Courage to see you were a prisoner of your own emptiness. Courage to release what was never yours. Courage to accept that God didn't destroy love. He simply revealed a lie. And now, silence is all that remains. But in that silence, there is truth. Because when the noise of illusion fades, the soul finally listens. And that's where God begins to speak. Even if you can't hear him yet. You thought God was silent, but the silence was an answer. It was him showing you that the noise you called love was what kept you from hearing the truth. God didn't hide from you. You were just surrounded by too many voices. The pain wasn't punishment. It was a mirror. Every tear was a divine attempt to wake you up. You kept asking for freedom, but still called your prison love. And God was waiting for the moment you would see that true love never comes with fear. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. God doesn't change the scene. He changes how you see it. Because when the mind awakens, the pattern dies. Repetition loses its power. And what once held you captive now sets you free. He didn't take you away from that person. He took you out of the cycle, out of the attachment, the self-deception, the hunger. And when you thought you were being rejected, God was simply redirecting you, protecting you in the only way true love knows how, by separating the false. God doesn't want you to forget what you lived. He wants you to understand why you lived it. The pain was the classroom, the false love was the teacher, and the lesson was simple. You don't have to earn love. You only need to remember who you are. Every humiliation taught you dignity. Every silence showed you the value of respect. Every time you went back and you learned more about boundaries. And when you finally understood, the pain stopped. Not because the other changed, but because your mind changed, and God did the rest. You spent years trying to be enough, but God never asked you to prove your worth. He wanted you to see the worth you already had. He didn't break you. He refined you. He didn't punish you. He prepared you. For a love that doesn't destroy you but builds you. God whispers in the pauses, in the voids you tried to fill, in the nights you thought he'd forgotten you. But that's when he was shaping you, with silence, with absence, with love, a love that teaches before it heals. And now you understand. It wasn't rejection, it was redemption. It wasn't loss, it was liberation. And what seemed like punishment was God returning you to yourself. The mind renews, the heart quiets, and the cycle ends. Because what was prison became purpose, what was pain became direction. You're not trapped, you're being transformed. Write in the comments, now I understand why. This will be your sign. The moment when awareness opens and the soul awakens. Now you know what holds you. But knowing isn't enough. Healing begins when you choose to act differently. Not reacting to what hurts you, but responding to what teaches you. Because awareness without action is still a prison. And God wants to see you free, not just awake. The first action is simple yet deep. Return to yourself. Psychologically, it means breaking the inner bond, not just the outer one. It's not about blocking a number. It's about undoing the invisible tie. Stop feeding the illusion with memories, fantasies, expectations. Every time the thought returns, tell yourself, this isn't love, it's a pattern. And the pattern dies the moment it's no longer fed. Returning to yourself means learning to choose yourself, to ask, what if I gave myself what I always begged from others? Comfort, patience, love. That's not selfishness, that's restoration. The mind heals when the heart comes home, and that home has always been you. The second action is spiritual. Release control. God doesn't want you to fight what you need to let go. He wants you to trust his timing. Spiritual healing begins when you stop asking for the other to change and start asking what God is trying to show you through it. The prayer isn't bring them back, it's teach me what I need to see. There's quiet power in letting go. It's a kind of faith that doesn't shout. It rests. Because trust is releasing what hurts without needing to understand it all. It's saying, God, if this still binds me, show me why. And staying still long enough to hear the answer. Sometimes his silence is the yes you most need. God doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for presence. He wants to see you whole, not numb. He wants to see you cry, pray, and keep walking without abandoning yourself halfway. Faith isn't denial of pain. It's transformation through it. Because the miracle isn't the end of the wound. It's consciousness being born inside it. Start small. Pray for the one who hurt you, not for reconciliation, but for release. Not for them to return, but for you to be free. That's the kind of love that heals. Love that doesn't need chains to prove itself. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's cutting the soul's tie to the weight. And only those who release the past can hold their purpose. God doesn't want you strong. He wants you true. He wants you living without needing pain to feel love. He wants your enough to be an act of faith, not anger. Because when you say enough in peace, the cycle ends in heaven too. And what looked like loss becomes protection. God didn't take someone from you. He took you out of emotional captivity. Healing doesn't happen overnight. But every time you choose not to go back, heaven moves a little closer. Every time you cry and still keep going, another chain breaks. God works in the repetition of your surrender. And when he's done, you won't recognize who you were, because pain purifies before it promotes. You're not failing. You're resurrecting. God isn't calling you to give up. He's calling you to decide to be free, even when you miss them, to decide to trust even when you don't understand, to decide to love yourself the way he always has. You used to fear being alone. Now you have peace in your own company. Before, silence hurt. Now, it heals you. What once was despair is now rest. You no longer need to prove anything or beg to be seen. God taught you to see yourself. And when you look through his eyes, you realize you were always enough. You had just forgotten. That person was a tool, not punishment. They pushed you to the ground God would use to lift you, and every tear became a seed. Pain that bloomed into awareness, a scar that became direction. You thought you had lost everything, but you only lost what kept you from being who you are. What was prison became purpose. What was illusion became faith. God didn't keep you trapped. He waited for you. Waited for the moment you chose to be free. Now you understand. It was never about them. It was about the mirror, about the part of you that still believed you didn't deserve love. And God, patient as always, showed you that with tenderness, because his love corrects, but never condemns. The cycle has ended, not because they changed, but because you stopped repeating. The mind renewed, the heart healed, and what remains is peace. God didn't take something from you. He took you out of something, out of neediness, illusion, and self-abandonment. And in their place, he gave you presence, his presence, and the kind of love that doesn't need pain to exist. Now you walk lighter, without fear of loss, because you've learned that what comes from God doesn't chain you. It walks beside you, and whoever leaves simply fulfilled their purpose. Nothing was wasted. Everything was preparation. You no longer ask, why did God keep me there? Now you know, because there, God transformed you, turned your captivity into an altar, and your pain into a calling to love with awareness and faith. And when the wind touches your face, remember, it's God whispering, it's over, not love. The cycle now begins the new, the pure, the true. Here, before continuing this journey, why you suffer, subscribe and to what God is teaching you through it. Psychology to understand yourself, spirituality to understand why. For you who made it to the end of this video, write in the comments, I understood the purpose of the pain, because those who declare understanding will activate healing, and God always honors those who learn from what hurt.